Welcome one and all to another edition of the Defo Show with Lubie here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, brought to you by Water Cleanup of Florida. We are inching closer and closer to that summertime, this rainy season here in South Florida, which can do a number to our home or office. No worries. Water Cleanup of Florida is there for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. 954-579-0356 is that number you call if you have any water or fire damage to your home or office. They were there for my wife and myself. They'll be there for you, 954-579-0356. Again, I say this each and every time, and I will continue to say it. They are not only great with communication, so you can get them out there and they can get the job done and fix whatever issues ail you, but because they have licensed, certified, insurance contractors, they can make it look brand new, which is an undertaking in and of itself, right? Because even if someone fixes it, then you're now like, oh, God, but you're staring at the thing, and then it's annoying. You don't have that because they will make it look brand new. That happened for us, and we literally knew where the problem was, and we're like, where was it again? Because you couldn't tell, because they had done such a great job. Water Cleanup of Florida, 954-579-0356. Check them out on or at their website, wcufl.com, or on their socials, or at Water Cleanup FL. Believe me, if you have schmutz, they have the guts. Water Cleanup of Florida. The Miami Heat have been our gutsy franchise for the last 2+ decades coming out of the South Florida area. The last few seasons, they've tried to make moves in the offseason, and they failed. They've been to 2 NBA Finals, 3 Eastern Conference Finals. It feels like this year that will be another tough task as they blew a game versus the Pacers that would have put them in the 6th seed and put them right there with a chance at the 3 through 5 seed. 4 games left. We talked with Mr. 5 Reasons Sports, Mr. Miami Heat, to us at least, the guy we love to go to when we talk Miami Heat. Ethan Scoop Skolnick joins us here, the Defo Show with Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
We welcome Ethan Scoop Skolnick to the show. Ethan, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm trying to figure out everything that happened last night. I guess Curb Your Enthusiasm is over, right?
Yep.
Cal is going to ending, by the way. Cal is going to Arkansas.
Right.
Which I did not expect that. J. Cole is apologizing. I don't know if Defo, if you're familiar with that beef. I could educate you on that.
Oh, yeah, please do.
And the Heat have blown their opportunity to do anything in the playoffs.
That was wild yesterday.
So that's where we're at right now.
Interesting, many different things. I think, the Calipari, it's amazing how, was that not a well-kept secret that Musselman went to USC? He was coaching Arkansas, and so there's an opening there. Did you hear any speculation along the lines of, hey, who's getting that job, Calipari?
No, but you did hear a lot of speculation about frustration in Kentucky with Calipari. There's only so long that model can work in college basketball at this point. Look, first, some credit on this. Obviously, he knows how to develop players in the 1 year because the Kentucky guards have basically taken over the NBA. It's not just Booker or Fox now it's Emmanuel Quickley's going nuts, and obviously Maxey had 54 last night. Tyler Hero had 21. But there are a lot of Kentucky guards have completely taken over the league, but he's not winning anything. And part of it is I don't think he's an elite game coach. I don't think he ever has been, but it's also that you just, when guys are gone in 1 year, there's just no time to gel. And we're seeing that with Connecticut right now, that, a little bit more seasoning helps. And so I think that honestly, he needed a parachute out before things got really ugly. And this is a pretty good parachute. You don't see a lot of guys go inside their conference like this, but
yes.
If money speaks, and again, I think that I think he was close to the end of Kentucky. Regardless, he might have gotten blown out if they lost in the first round or second round again next year. So, probably the wise move to get out. And again, applying it to the Heat, maybe they should have taken a couple more of those Kentucky guards.
Well, certainly Devin Booker over Justice Winslow. That would have loomed still as a large mistake.
And Tyrese Maxey over Precious Achiuwa probably.
Oh, yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Such ugliness. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Calipari, I mean, Lexington, having been there many times, not so much attracted to the prospect of attending a Kentucky basketball game, but of course, Keeneland Racecourse does have a measure of sophistication. Where is Calipari going to buy clothing in Arkansas? That would be the question, because this guy's always razor sharp. Now the professor was speculating, and I guess this is a natural, and he said it will be a topic tonight. I don't know if Scoop Skolnick or the crew from 5 Reasons will be popping up to the pregame press conference, if there is one, and asking Danny Hurley, when is he getting the Kentucky job?
Well,
is that going to be the case?
Well, why would see? This is what I don't understand. When guys have elite, I mean, UConn is an elite job. This is not right. I mean, this is not. First thing, it's been an elite job for a long time. I mean, it's been an elite job since Ray Allen and others there.
Jimmy
kind of
Calhoun
made it an elite job, right? Jilly Calhoun, and then you look at obviously Kemba Walker and what others have done there. Like, if you can win at the highest level at a place and they're happy with you, why go? Like I understand, like we talk about Kentucky, North Carolina, Duke, there are certain programs that kind of get elevated above the rest, but UConn has done more winning than Kentucky over the past decade, and so I mean, so to go to Kentucky to be the guy to lift it back up, I don't know. I mean, I would stay where UConn, he literally has. Danny Hurley has that entire corridor in the Northeast. He'll get anybody he wants. I mean, it literally. I mean, there's no competition. Who's he competing with up there? The old Big the old Big East is dead. I mean, there's no. I mean, I know Pitino's at St. John's, but like there's Georgetown is dead. Those programs.
Rick's already on the phone with several of Hurley's recruits saying that he's gone to Kentucky.
Gone,
Absolutely.
Like unless you own a racehorse, this is no place to be. He's telling people.
It's weird. I've actually my Rick Pitino experience is actually, I think I was at a couple of things you were at. He was some event in Boca. I just remember being at urinals next to Rick Pitino a lot. I'm not really sure.
He's a down to earth guy. When you meet him in person, very down to earth guy. I'm a big Pitino fan. I mean, I know there have been some indiscretions here that you would find somewhat unfathomable.
We all have them. maybe not all that one,
guilty,
but
guilty, for sure.
Yeah, it is what it is.
All right, so I watched a little Heat game yesterday, and I have no idea what to make of the Miami Heat, Ethan, as you sort of discussed. Lubie, has had his magic wand theory in the past. I'm not sure I'm seeing the magic wand being waved by Spoelstra at the end of the year, and all of a sudden everything's going to come together. People have a mixed reaction. I see people detracting Rozier. He seems to be a guy that's been one steadying influence for the team. Jimmy Butler, you were talking about the indifference, which kills all relationships. We know that, but it seemed like he was detached from some games, and then in other games he would look like the kind of guy that you thought is going to be the catalyst to some kind of achievement in the postseason. But where do you stand with them? Yesterday they're down 22 points in the first half. Very lackadaisical effort on the defensive end. Didn't score. I mean, what they have, 40 some odd points, and then they tightened the game up, and it looked like they were sort of in there with a shot to win it. But Indiana made their free throws at the end of the ball game and clinched it that way. And now they're behind Indiana because that achieved the tiebreaker for Indiana over the Heat if they end up in a dead heat.
Well, they're not catching Indiana. I don't. I mean. Yesterday they could.
How many games are left? Like 4?
Yeah, they've got 4. They're in Atlanta tomorrow night. They've got Dallas at home, second night of a back-to-back. That could be ugly in a wrong way. And then they play Toronto for 2. The Raptors just lost 15 in a row before winning a couple, but they don't really want to keep winning because if their pick is in the top 6. If they're a bottom 6 team, they keep the pick this year. Otherwise, they got to give it away as part of an earlier trade. So the Raptors, I don't think, will be coming in with a whole bunch of energy in those last 2 games of the season. So you figure, unless Miami completely bleeps the bed, that they should win those 2. But I don't trust them to win the Dallas game at home. I'll just, look, the Eastern Conference is not good. 8 of the top 10 teams in net rating are in the West. You look at Boston. It's Boston and it's everybody else. Everybody else has problems. I mean, Milwaukee has been a nightmare since Doc took over.
Yep.
They're not defending anybody. Some of their players, their role players, have gotten old quickly. Cleveland, has really been struggling. They blew a huge lead yesterday. Donovan Mitchell is not healthy right now. The Knicks, of course, are playing without Randall. They had a big win yesterday. Orlando has been tremendously consistent. I give them great credit, but they're very young, and I don't know how that's going to translate in the playoffs. It didn't for Cleveland last year. So this was an opportunity for Miami. And, look, now I see them probably being the 8.
Yep.
Philadelphia, almost lost yesterday. Miami kind of needed that. That was as bad a result for Miami as losing to the Pacers was. You needed them to lose in San Antonio without Embiid, and the Spurs were up double digits with 4 minutes left, but ultimately Philadelphia won in double overtime. So I think this is just where we're headed. They are going to take the hardest possible path again. If they are the 8th seed and they have to go to, say, Philadelphia for a play-in game, I don't trust them to win that game.
Wow.
And then you're counting on them just beating Chicago or Atlanta at home. Very similar circumstance to last year. If you remember, they lost the first game and then had to beat Chicago. They were down with 3 minutes left in that game, and Strus saved them. He's no longer there. And then what's your reward then? You're the 8th seed and you play Boston in the first round. I mean, I hate to say it, but to a certain degree, they deserve this fate. You can't screw around as much as they screwed around. And we can talk about injuries and all that, and a lot of that is reasonable, but this team has not played well when fully healthy this year either, or close to fully healthy. And yesterday you mentioned Rozier. Look, he probably shouldn't have played. I guess he woke up with a stiff neck. He wasn't good. Duncan Robinson has been trying to play through a back injury and looks awful the last 5 games. Nothing like he's looked earlier this season, to the point that I actually think they should shut him down.
Yep.
And then you've just got no choice at this stage but to put Tyler back in the starting lineup and roll with it, which was not the direction that I thought that they should go. But if Duncan's not right, he's not right. So I guess to answer your question here, they don't have a 1A star anymore. I think that's the realization that Heat fans need to come to. Jimmy Butler's a very good player still, but he's not a carry you over the finish line type player like he's been during most of his Heat tenure. And I don't think it's just effort. Some of it is him kind of conserving himself, but some of it is he has to pump fake 12 times to get a shot off these days. And also the officials are not calling anything anymore. Like, that's the thing. Like, since the break, whatever it is, they decided as a league that they were not going to go with the foul baiting. Now, Jimmy's not really a foul baiter, but he does rely on free throws to get him going. And he had a bunch last night, but he probably could have had about 10 more. He's not going to get them right now consistently. And I saw the frustration seep in with him last night in a way that I typically haven't, where he did the palms up thing that LeBron does. That's not Jimmy. So I think that all of this stuff has kind of come together, and I think the end game of this is if they get eliminated in the first round, if they get through the play-in, is that I think you're going to see you're going to finally see the rebuild that I think Heat fans have been calling for.
Well, and look, Defo always makes fun of me because I love the offseason more than I love the season, because with the Heat, there used to be, until the last 4 years, always something brewing. And then we've seen the last 4 years was the opposite, where all you did was hear stuff about the Heat and then nothing happened. Where in the past, we always joked with the Shaq move, with like all these were moves you never thought would happen, and then the Heat did the move. The last 4 years, they were rumored to get every star and didn't get any of them. To me, and look, and I was the one slamming them last year, and then they found their way to make this magical run. So, yes, can you totally count them out? I guess not. Spo's a good enough coach, fine. But it does feel different. It just feels like they were sort of screwing around but knew what they had last year. And this year, it feels like they don't know what the hell's going on. And Heroes actually come back and played okay, so I can't even blame Heroes so much. It's just, it feels like we've talked about all year, they have a better team, but they don't play like it.
Right.
And I just don't see, and what's funny is, you're not wrong, the middle of the East is not great. But the problem is the Sixers are probably that other team that's top 3 or 4 in the conference, and you got a break because they didn't have Embiid. Well, now they do, and he's come back and looked pretty good. So you'd have to play him in like a freaking play-in? Like, you don't want to play the Sixers in the play-in. Like,
to me, the Sixers are the second best team in the East right now. So I don't, the record shows it when Embiid and Maxey are healthy together, they haven't lost much. Similar to when Anunoby's played for the Knicks, actually, they've been very good. But Miami is just like, they get pieces back, and it looks like they've never played together before. By the way, Andrew, thank you for the comment about my daughter. Appreciate it. But
That was brilliant, by the way, Scoop. Andy was on the chat line talking about your daughter's singing performance. Where did these pipes come from?
I'm not me.
Wow.
I actually from no one, to be honest. I don't know.
Wow.
It's more so. Every minute is a performance. So
a natural
trust me, in
stage
this
presence too.
in this apartment. Well, it's better when it happens there when it's 6:15 in the morning on a Saturday and she's coming into my room to wake me up with it. But yes,
Dad,
but
aren't
yeah,
we
I
going
look,
somewhere today?
well, pretty much. Yeah,
Yeah.
Daddy doesn't get to sleep. But yeah, it's I just think it's frustrating to see this team do what they did in that game where, look, Indiana is not at the same stage of their build that Miami is with theirs. Okay. This is a Halliburton build. He didn't even do anything in the game. And you're getting torn up by TJ McConnell. And I mean, TJ McConnell was 11 of 12 the last time they played them. And this game, he started 12 of 13.
Come on.
Well,
He's a guard. He's a
holy
guard.
Bill Walton. Yeah.
23 of 25. Okay. And it was literally all they were doing was he was getting into the middle of the zone or on cuts, and nobody was doing anything with him. And we had Heat fans, and we do playback every night, which is we watch the game through a stream, and we kind of do the play-by-play on it. And we just kept saying, like, people were like, well, they've got to do something about TJ McConnell. I'm sorry.
That's
okay?
crazy.
If you are at a point in the season, we're in game 78 or whatever.
Yes.
Where you have to game plan for TJ McConnell in a game that you need to win. Like everybody's like, he's got to throw DeLon Wright out there. He's got to put Highsmith on him more. Okay, I understand about making some adjustments, but like TJ McConnell's one of those you see, you let him beat you. Okay, and he did. Okay, and that's crazy, honestly. And I just think there's a lack of seriousness with this group at times that is very frustrating. Like, it's not just the Indiana game. Look at the way they came out against Philadelphia, and then they had to fight all the way back, and they took the lead. But then again, they've wasted so much energy trying to get back in front, and then we see them go through these long scoring droughts. And look, I give credit to Jovic for yesterday, because honestly, without his third quarter, that game would have completely gotten away. But it's not enough. They don't have, like I said, they don't have a 1A anymore. They don't look like they fit together very well. And they look like what the fans are saying. They're just waiting, like, okay, the playoffs are going to start, and this magic bulb is going to appear over there. Oh, okay, we're going to twist it. Okay, the lights are going to go on. I don't see it.
Yeah, I
just don't see it.
No, that was with LeBron and Wade, and that was after like game 20. That wasn't like game 79. No. Okay, so you said about get the rebuild that the fans want, because the fans just want the superstars. We're clamoring for a big move, and they've tried and they've failed. But even you said, yes, we all knew the Blazers weren't going to be the team to do it, but it couldn't hurt to be the team that pushes them to look bad. And the Heat didn't. The Heat just sort of said, screw it. The Mitchell thing is murmuring again. Mitchell is not extending his contract with the Cavs. It's pretty known that they're going to ship him off somewhere. You said it. This is the offseason that you expect the rebuild fans want. What does, in your mind, the rebuild fans want? What does that mean, and what does that mean for the Heat in reality?
I still think the most likely place for Mitchell is New York.
New York, right? Yeah.
But because of his ties there. I mean, look, they're going to explore it, I think, and I think they will look at trying to move, anything but Jimmy and Bam again. But I think the bigger issue here is, and sort of the elephant in the room here is, okay, what do you do with Jimmy going forward? You've got 2 years. Well, he's got a year left, and then he's got a player option for $52 million. Okay. He's not going to be a $52 million player. Okay. And not in the playoffs or in the regular season. And I know he wants an extension, and he'd like to rip up that last year and get 2 more years. I don't think they're going to give him 2 more years, honestly, at max. So this thing is going to come to a head at some point. I really think, look, I don't think that Pat is ever moving Bam. I just don't. I think that he is so ingrained in their culture. He is the culture carrier. He's 26 years old or whatever. So I don't think that's happening. But I think everything else at a certain stage is going to be on the table. The problem this offseason is I don't really see, other than Mitchell. First thing, free agency is weak, and Miami isn't a cap space team anyway. But I don't really see the disgruntled stars yet. The one name that's come up a lot is Paul George. I think he's headed for Philly. Has longstanding relationships with some people there, and I think that's probably where he ends up. He's a bit diminished anyway. I would take him on Miami. I think he still does a lot of things really well. But there's not a lot of players that are jumping out to me. I think the playoffs, the Western Conference is so competitive that I do think that a couple teams that either don't get out of the play-in or don't get out of the first round, I think you could see their stars getting itchy to go somewhere else. And I think that's where you have to look at. So, I don't know, maybe it's not a headliner star. Maybe it's somebody like a Brandon Ingram in New Orleans if they don't go very far. Maybe can you get your hands on De'Aaron Fox somehow out of Sacramento if they flame out? Could you, and look, the one name that I don't think is reasonable in any way, because I don't think he's ever leaving that place. But man, if I were Steph, I would be tired of carrying that bleep in Golden State, because I don't see that situation getting a whole lot better because they seem tied to dealing with Draymond's antics. So I would look at the West and say, okay, is there a team in there that, just because the West is so competitive, that is looking to reshuffle things? There's a possibility of somebody getting free there. Possibility.
Skolnick says LeBron and Steph Curry to the Heat next year. That'd be great. All right, we'll have that all
that's the other. No, Defo. That's the other name I didn't want to mention, but it's not the craziest thought.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, it's not. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
With Bronny. Yeah.
If anybody can make Bronny into an NBA player, it's Spo. And I think Bron knows that at this stage. So who knows? It's not the craziest thing in the world. Look, they have made more concessions as an organization to Jimmy Butler than they ever made to LeBron James. So they could absolutely handle LeBron at this stage. But I don't think it's going to happen. But if you were to say to me to put my life on it not happening, I wouldn't do that.
Wow. I wouldn't do that. There you go. There's the story. LeBron to Miami.
It's done.
Off-season blockbuster.
Aggregate it.
Do they do that thing again where they get LeBron and say Duncan Robinson and maybe another Heat player out of bio to sit there and tell you they're going to win 7 championships?
Haywood Highsmith, Caleb Martin, and LeBron James.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. Scoop, great stuff as always. I don't know. We always say it. I don't think anybody knows more about this stuff than you. So we appreciate that. With all due respect to Ira Winderman, a wonderful guy, but a lousy official at tennis. Have you ever played him in tennis?
I think that's the last thing in my life I would ever do.
Play Winderman?
I don't know. I don't trust that. I'm not sure. Like,
the calls were atrocious.
Well, Ira likes to ask like the first 5 questions of every press conference. And much respect to him, because again, the guys who still travel, I give much respect.
He's like the Helen Thomas of the Heat.
So does he insist on serving 5 straight games? Like, how does that work in tennis?
It wouldn't matter. Whatever you throw at him, it's going to be out. Right? I mean, the ball could leave like what looks like a mortar shell exploded in the service box, and no, that was long. What are you talking about? And it'll fire a couple of rackets. I don't know. He might have gotten a lot better. I haven't played the guy for like 20 years, but I do remember
You're an idiot. You're an idiot.
Okay, officiating was very suspect. Very suspect. All right, Scoop. Always a pleasure, my friend. 5 Reasons Sports Network. Scoop Skolnick. Ethan Scoop Skolnick always does a great job. And wow, do they have the Heat covered, Lubie?
Yes, sir.
I would have to say in blanket coverage of the Miami Heat. Incredible. So if you want more on the Miami Heat, turn to 5 Reasons, and you get all that you want.
Yeah, Ethan, look, he knows the Heat well. He's worked with the Heat, involved, reporting on them for years. So he has an interesting relationship with them, but he's honest about the Heat, and they've tried to make moves, and they've failed, and it feels like it's coming to a head. Jimmy Butler does not feel like playoff Jimmy is something that we're going to see. He's been in and out, whether it's injuries or disinterest or issues in his life, but by now, feels like he would have turned it on, and he played well versus the Pacers, but he didn't dominate. He didn't take over. Bam played well, but didn't dominate, didn't take over. Tyler Hero is back, which the Heat have been waiting for, and they're not better. A game versus the Sixers that they should have won, they lost, and a game versus the Pacers that they should have won, they lost. And these are 2 games that would have been huge for the Miami Heat. Now they sit in the 8th spot. It feels like they're firmly entrenched in the play-in tournament. And yes, last year, look, they struggled and lost to a bad Hawks team, almost lost to the Bulls, a bad Bulls team, and then found themselves in the NBA Finals and did push the Nuggets as far as I felt like anyone was going to push the Nuggets, really, to maybe give them a run before the Nuggets won the title. It feels like that's not the case this year. The Miami Heat, they just feel a step off. And I look for changes in the offseason, but they've been trying to make changes in the offseason. We'll see if they can make it happen. I don't know if they get a star, much like Ethan just said. It feels like it's going to be tough to get a star. We'll see. I don't know. When it comes to this organization, I trust them. I believe in them. Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in the NBA, so he can get the most out of what he has. And I don't think they're going to just, him and Hall, they're going to make something happen in the offseason. I don't know if they're going to make something happen the rest of this season. We shall see. The place you got to go is not only 5 Reasons, but you can check us out each and every morning. South Florida Live on YouTube, South Florida Live on Facebook. 8 to 9, Defo and I do a show there. We do a national podcast for the Believe Network, BLEAV.com, Search After Hours, where we talk some sports, but lots of other things in the world. We do a daily podcast for nofilter.net. Just go to Google, Caffeine TV, The Morning Briefing. We do that, and we talk all things sports. If you want our South Florida skew sports, so right here, the Defo Show with the Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.